A workman circle started around 1900, and one of the earliest chapters in the West was San Francisco. At one point, San Francisco area had 7 different branches. I say branches, not chapters. And at the 50th anniversary of this particular branch, I was chair at the time, I decided I was going to have a weekend conference, bring in speakers of places where they had branches, and this was going to also be the start of a historical society of the Workman Circle branches west of the Mississippi, United States and Canada. At one time there were hundreds of them there, and now there are only 2 or 3, this one here and the one down in Los Angeles. And so what I did is to go back and find out where were all of these branches. So I called up New York, and they said they have a book of the branches, but the book is so old that the paper, which is acid paper, will crumble, and in some of the places they put Scotch tape, and when they put Scotch tape it yellowed it and they couldn't see behind it. So the question is, how are you going to make a copy of that book, because they weren't going to let it out of their hands. I called up Austin, Texas, and they told me that they would need $2,250 to make a copy of that book because it would be so delicate. Then I called up a very dear friend of mine, Gail Malmgreen, who is at NYU. She is the head of the archives of the Jewish Labor Committee. And she and a graduate student spent all day, 2 weeks, making a copy of it. And what she did was to take a knife, place it between the sheets, put a piece of plastic underneath and on the other side, and they took the entire book and they made copies of it. From that, I was able to make a list of all the branches that ever existed. Now, these were branches that existed at one time or another. Now, some of the branches had only numbers. Sometimes the branches received names from people who had passed away who were very significant for them. Sometimes they folded into other branches, and of course you had to then trace them. Sometimes they would fold in and then fold into again. And part of this whole program, which I never carried out, was the cemeteries, the Workman Circle cemeteries. There was a wonderful friend of mine who was in New York, and he got very interested in, his name was Cornell, last name Cornell. He was on the board of directors also, and he started to go around the country trying to locate these Workman Circle cemeteries, but we never actually published a list, but it would be a very fascinating list because these were now absorbed by other organizations.